Alright, hello and welcome to this lesson where we're going to use Adobe Illustrator to design the icons that we sketched out in the previous lesson. So, the first thing I want to do is go to File, New, and we're just going to name this Flat GUI Icons. And for number of artboards, we're going to choose 5 because we have 5 of them. And we're going to set the width and height at 512 by 512. You can leave everything else the same and hit OK. Alright, so this gives us at 33% zoom a view of all of the artboards for each of the icons. So I'm going to zoom up here on the first one, and we're at 100%. And so it was the camera icon that we first did. So we're going to drag out here and use the rounded rectangle tool. And if we go to Edit Preferences, General, we can specify the corner radius right here. I'm going to leave it 8, and I'm just going to draw out roughly something similar to what we sketched out. And for the stroke, I'm going to turn that off at 0, and we're just going to give it a blue color. Alright, and now we can begin and add the actual lens right here. So we will use the ellipse tool and just hold Shift and Alt and scale out. It doesn't have to be perfect based on mine. So somewhere around here will work. And we will give this a darker color. Right around there. And let's go ahead and add the actual flash portion. And so what we'll do to do that is use the rounded rectangle again, and right around here we'll just drag out about that size, and we'll make it that color again. And let's zoom up here, and we'll use the pen tool, and we will connect from this edge, I'd say right around. Actually, we can go all the way. And then we can hit Control C and Control F to duplicate that and go to Edit, or actually rather right click, Transform, and Reflect. And we'll choose Vertical. Alright, so I'm going to zoom out here. And we'll just move this over. Right around there. And then what I want to do is we'll take a white foreground with the rounded rectangle tool and just go right around there. Alright, so if we hit Control 1, we see we have this. And then we also want kind of like a clicker here, and we could just do that real quickly just by adding it right there. And then what I want to do is add kind of like a highlight right here. So we'll do that with the pen tool with a stroke. So first thing, we'll zoom up, and we'll start right around here and then just drag just a little bit. And we'll go ahead and come over here to gradient and see where it says fill. We want to go up to the swatches and just take that out. And then we'll select the stroke and make that white. And then we'll click on it, and we can change the stroke width. Right around there looks pretty good. But this doesn't look correct with inside. So we want that rounded off. So all we have to do is click on stroke, and then we'll put this middle portion, which is rounded. And then we want one more, a smaller one, just to go right around here. Maybe not that large, just very tiny. Okay, hit Control 1, and you can select them and use your arrow keys to adjust them finer. Alright, that looks pretty good for now. And then finally we're going to add the 45-degree angle kind of shadow that goes right there that's going to be cast from this direction, assuming the light source is coming from that area. So all we have to do is zoom up, and we will take roughly right around there, hold shift, and don't worry about that stroke, that's not an issue, and hold shift again. Now that doesn't line up perfectly, we want this point to line up right there, so we'll just hold shift and take these 2 points and we'll just move them. Alright. Then what we want to do is take the pen tool, we'll click on this again, and click right there to close it, to even it out. So then what we want to do, hit Control 1, is we can move this off, these portions, these 3 layers, which is the 2 strokes and the ellipse behind it, and just move it to the side, and then we can go to Object, Path, Divide Objects Below. Alright. We'll go ahead and move these 3. Actually, before we do that, we can just take this and very slightly just make it a little bit darker. So now we could take these 3 layers, holding shift, and move it back. And there we go, we have the shadow cast. And you could play around with the hue if you want to a little bit more. If you want it darker, that's fine. Okay, so that pretty much takes care of our first one. Now remember, if you want to make sure you take any strokes that you have and convert them here to outline stroke, and that way once you go to scale these down, it'll maintain the stroke width. Okay, so now that one is done, we'll go ahead and move on to the second icon, which is the light bulb. Alright, so this time we're just going to start off by using the ellipse, and I'm just going to choose kind of like this orange/yellow color right there. I'm just going to hold shift and alt, and we'll make that a little bit smaller. Alright, so this will serve as the top, and then what we're going to do is zoom up a bit, and we will use the pen tool, and we'll click right around there, actually maybe down just a tad bit further. Alright, and end it right around here. Alright, so once we've done that, we can end it right around there, and then what we'll do is hit Control C and Control F, right click, transform, reflect, leave it at vertical and hit OK, and move it right around so it meets the other side of the edge over there. And we want these two to come together just like that by taking those points. And now they're pretty much all connected, and if I hit Control 1, it looks pretty good. I'm going to scale them all down. And now what I want to do is create the screw portion, and that's pretty simple. We'll use the rounded rectangle tool. Right around here. And these will be like a gray color. Control C and Control F. Control C and Control F. And we can kind of scale this one in. We could just take the direct selection tool, select these ones, use our arrow keys, and just hit left and right a couple times. And we can adjust the spacing a little bit further. Alright, so finally what we want to do is add the same sort of reflection up there. So we will go back to a white stroke and we'll pull out. We'll select that, increase the size here, and then also go ahead and change the cap to rounded. And we can adjust this a little bit. All right. All right, that's pretty good. Let's go ahead and move here to our third icon. And this time it's going to be that mail envelope. And so I'm just going to go over here to the first artboard and select both of these and copy them. And create another one. I'm just going to drag it over here. Alright, and we're going to choose kind of like a middle gray right here. Oh, make sure we're selected on the foreground. And then I'm going to take a white color here with the pen tool. And click 3 times. Alright, and I may take these 2 middle points and pull them down just a tad bit. And then I want to follow this portion right here, this line, and end it just right around there. And then I'll just move this up slightly and then go to Object, Path, Divide Objects below. And so we'll take these two and make them slightly darker. Move this back down. Alright, so if we can zoom out here, you see that we have our first 3 icons and they look pretty good. So in the next lesson we're going to finish this up by completing the next 2 icons, which is the paperclip and the calendar. Alright, so I will see you then.